My name is Dr. Mohammed Hidayat Greenfield. I'm the elected Regional Secretary of the International Union of Food Workers in Asia Pacific. On behalf of all of our members across 21 countries in the Asia Pacific region, I send our solidarity greetings to all of you at this SENTRO Congress. I'm very proud to be here today because I was at the founding of the Congress in 2013 and its tremendous progress in SENTRO. So congratulations on this great achievement. Let me say something a little bit about the main theme, democracy. Yesterday, I arrived in Manila from Hong Kong. And as you know, in Hong Kong, it's a very extremely difficult but important struggle to defend democracy and democratic rights in Hong Kong. But it is not just in Hong Kong and the Philippines, but throughout our region that we have anti-working class governments across the region. We have more and more authoritarian regimes across the region, in Cambodia, in Myanmar, in Thailand, in India. And across this region, we face this common challenge of how we respond as trade unions in our fight to defend and rebuild democracy. In fact, in Cambodia, it is 1 year ago that they had their elections in which there was only one political party in the elections. And workers were told that if they did not vote, they would be terminated, because even an authoritarian regime needs what appears to be the support of working people. In Thailand, the military government re-elected itself through elections. On the morning of the election results, they were losing. They were fourth. By afternoon, they had won the election. They had manipulated the outcome and restored some kind of legitimacy to themselves. This is an important lesson for us because authoritarian regimes, as strong as they may appear, dictators, as strong as they may appear, still need some kind of legitimacy to continue and function, whether it's Modi, Duterte, or anyone else. And what this challenge tells us is that it is not about an individual, Duterte not as Duterte, Duterte not as the government of Duterte, but Duterte the regime of Duterte. A regime is an arrangement of political power. And what is taking place today is a rearrangement of political power in a way that the system that they build today, that suppresses rights, suppresses democracy, and suppresses freedoms, this regime will outlive Duterte himself. And this is what we have seen in other countries. It is important, and this is a difficult topic for us. As I said, I'm an elected union representative. And I take responsibility for the fact that in many of these countries where workers did vote, they voted for military-backed political parties. They voted for parties that are now forming authoritarian regimes. They voted for Aung San Suu Kyi, who has now compromised with the military regime in Myanmar, and they voted for Duterte. I take responsibility as a trade union leader for this because we understand that people were voting and thought they were voting for an answer to the deep anger, fear, and frustration that working class people face today. With the poverty and inequality at its highest level in 50 years, people are deeply frustrated and afraid about the future. And this fear left without the right kind of organizing and without the right kind of progressive political organization, this fear turns to the right. And it is a right-wing populism that had these people elected, whether it's Modi or Duterte or even Donald Trump. It is a right-wing reaction of working class people through fear, where the easiest reference that we can have is intolerance and hatred. And that is why it's important for us as trade union leaders, as trade union representatives, to realize our responsibility is to restore those values of social justice, of fairness, of decency, of dignity, of rights. We have to fight to restore those values. It will come from nowhere else. And our role of trade unions is very clear. We need to rebuild the industrial and economic power that's necessary in society to defend and restore democracy. This is our role. Democracy needs economic and social justice. That is what our members are looking for. And we need democracy to achieve that economic and social justice. And we need democracy in order to build our unions, but we also need unions to restore our democracy. Democracy needs trade unions. Democracy needs SENTRO. It is important at in this critical time to understand why our members may have elected strong men, strong leaders. Modi, Duterte, they nearly elected a military leader in Indonesia. They did elect eventually a military leader in Thailand, and Aung San Suu Kyi has compromised in Myanmar. And again, all of this comes from this fear, uncertainty, and lack of guidance among working people in the face of crisis. And that is why our task as trade unions is to rebuild the collective confidence of working class people. We must rebuild our confidence not only to take power, but to restore the social values that neoliberalism has eroded for the past 40 years. So much of what is discussed today is about individual interests and individual values, and our role of trade unions is to restore the collective interest and the collective value. Our struggle is not at the ballot box. Our struggle is in our workplace and in our unions. We must have that collective power to be relevant in this society to rebuild democracy. You know the IUF slogan is organize, fight, and win, because if we do not fight, we cannot win. But it is not simply to fight in the street or simply to fight and like on Facebook and Twitter. This is not an individual expression of your frustration and anger and disappointment. It must be a collective expression. And the only way to get a collective expression is to get out there together on the streets, to organize in our workplace, to organize in our community, and to organize in society. Comrades, if past generations had responded to colonialism with Twitter and social media, we would not be independent today. We would not have the freedoms that we enjoy today, even to have this meeting. We must realize that all of this came through collective struggle and collective sacrifice. It was not expressing our individual disappointment or frustration through some communication means. It was by coming together and organizing and fighting and winning. Thank you. And if I may, some of you know this. Organize! You got to say fight, win, otherwise I'm not getting off the stage. Organize! 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 Thank you very much.